Your brain is actively working against your wealth, and it has been since the day you were born. This is not a metaphor. It is a documented, measurable cognitive flaw that costs ordinary people hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime. This is the wealth code. And before this video is over, I am going to show you the one specific reframe that neuroscientists found actually rewires how your brain responds to financial risk, not with discipline, not with willpower, with a single shift in perspective. Stay with me. In 1979, two psychologists ran a study that quietly destroyed everything economists believed about human decision-making. Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky gave participants a simple choice. Option A, receive a guaranteed $500. Option B, flip a coin for a chance at $1,000 or nothing. Most people chose the guaranteed $500. Rational enough. But then they flipped the scenario. Option A, lose $500 for certain. Option B, flip a coin and either lose $1,000 or lose nothing. Suddenly, people became gamblers. They chose the coin flip, even though the math was identical in both scenarios. The only thing that changed was the word lose. That single word made people abandon logic entirely. Kahneman eventually won the Nobel Prize for what that study revealed. And what it revealed is this: losing something feels approximately twice as painful as gaining the same thing feels good. 2 to 1. That ratio is embedded in your neurology. And it is quietly destroying your financial future every single day. Here is what no finance channel will say out loud. The reason most people never invest, or invest badly and quit, is not laziness. It is not lack of information. It is not even lack of money. It is that their brain is running software designed for a world that no longer exists, a world where losing resources meant death, where caution was survival, and where do nothing was always the safest move. You are not bad with money. You are just running a 200,000-year-old program on a 21st century problem. And nobody ever handed you the override code. Kahneman and Tversky called it loss aversion, the asymmetry between how we feel gains and losses of equal size. But the rabbit hole goes deeper than one study. Richard Thaler, another Nobel laureate, documented what he called the endowment effect. Once you own something, a stock, a house, even a coffee mug, you immediately value it more than you would pay to acquire it. Ownership creates irrational attachment. Selling feels like losing. So people hold losing investments for years, waiting to get back to even, because selling feels like making the loss real. That phrase, making it real, is not just emotional language. Brain imaging studies by Camelia Cunnin and Brian Knutson at Stanford showed that financial loss activates the same neural regions as physical pain. The anterior insula, the part of your brain that fires when you touch a hot stove, lights up when you see your portfolio drop. Your brain genuinely cannot distinguish between losing $200 and burning your hand. Then there is status quo bias, documented by Samuelson and Zeckhauser at Harvard. When faced with a complex or uncertain decision, the brain defaults to inaction. Not because inaction is rational. Because inaction feels safe. And here is the lethal combination. Loss aversion tells you that losses hurt more than gains feel good. The endowment effect makes you cling to what you have. Status quo bias keeps you frozen. Stack all three together, and you get a person who never invests, never moves, and watches inflation silently consume everything they worked for. Inaction is not neutral. It is a choice. It is just a choice your brain makes without telling you. Now here is where it gets darker. Because your brain did not develop these biases in a vacuum. And there are institutions that have learned to weaponize them against you. Turn on financial news, CNBC, Bloomberg, Fox Business, and count how many times in 1 hour you hear the word crash, plunge, fear, or risk. They are not informing you. They are activating your loss aversion on purpose. A viewer in fear watches longer, clicks more, returns tomorrow. The financial news industry is monetizing your neurological weaknesses. Brokerage platforms are not innocent either. Research published in the Journal of Finance found that platforms which display real-time portfolio losses, the red numbers, the negative percentages, directly increase panic selling. They know this. The interface is designed for engagement, not for your financial health. And then there are actively managed mutual funds. The financial advisory industry profits when you trade frequently: commissions, management fees, expense ratios. A client who stays calm, invests passively, and does nothing for 30 years is their least profitable client. Volatility is their business model. The system does not want you calm. It does not want you patient. It profits from your fear, over and over and over again. Retention peak. But here is the part that will actually change how you see money. Everyone talks about loss aversion as a problem to overcome, something to push through with discipline or cold logic. But researchers at the University of California, Berkeley found something that the self-help industry completely ignores. Loss aversion is not the enemy. Misapplied loss aversion is. Here is what that means. The same brain that panics when your stock drops 3%, that exact same mechanism, becomes your most powerful wealth-building tool when you point it at the right target. Instead of fearing the loss of money in the market, train your brain to fear the loss of time out of the market. A study by J.P. Morgan Asset Management tracked the S&P 500 from 2002 to 2022, 20 years. If you stayed fully invested, your average annual return was approximately 9.8%. If you missed just the 10 best trading days, 10 days out of more than 5,000, your return collapsed to 5.6%. Miss the 20 best days and you are barely above cash. Those best days almost always come immediately after the worst ones. The people who panic sold during the crash missed the recovery. Every single time. So the reframe is not, ignore your fear of loss. It is, redirect it. Fear missing the rally. Fear the cost of waiting. Fear what inflation does to idle cash. Use the same emotional intensity, just aim it at the real danger. That is not motivation. That is neuroscience. The ultra-wealthy do not have less loss aversion. That is a myth. What they have is a different relationship with the unit of measurement. Ordinarily, people measure their portfolio in dollars. When the number drops, the pain is immediate and personal. Wealthy investors, and I have observed this pattern repeatedly, measure in percentages, in time horizons, and in purchasing power. A $50,000 drop in a $2 million portfolio is 2.5%. Framed that way, it is recoverable noise. Framed as, I just lost $50,000, it is a catastrophe. Same event. Completely different emotional response. Completely different decision. This is called reframing, and it is not just positive thinking. It is a deliberate cognitive strategy that changes which part of the brain processes the information. Wealthy investors also automate decisions to remove the emotional moment entirely. Automatic monthly investments mean they never have to choose to invest during a downturn, the decision was already made. No fear, no hesitation, no override. And perhaps most critically, they consume financial news differently. Not less, but differently. They have learned to treat market commentary the way a surgeon treats a traffic report. Interesting, perhaps. Irrelevant to the procedure. They have built an identity as an investor, not a trader, not a spectator. Identity is the most durable behavior change tool that exists. When you call yourself an investor, sitting still during volatility becomes consistent with who you are. Panic selling becomes a violation of self. That identity shift is worth more than any stock tip. 1. Reframe the unit of pain. Every time you check your portfolio during a dip, force yourself to write the percentage loss, not the dollar figure. Then write the historical average recovery time for that percentage. Make the context mandatory. Your brain responds to the frame, not the fact. 2. Automate the moment of decision. Set up a recurring automatic investment, monthly, on a fixed date, into a low-cost index fund. The goal is to permanently remove the emotional decision point. You cannot panic sell what you never consciously decided to buy in the moment of fear. 3. Create a personal investment policy statement. This is a one-page document you write in a calm moment that describes why you invest, what your time horizon is, and, critically, what you will do when the market drops 20%. Pre-decide your behavior. Research by Shlomo Benartzi at UCLA shows that people who pre-commit to a strategy in writing dramatically outperform those who decide in real time. 4. Redirect the fear, do not suppress it. When you feel anxiety about the market, write down the answer to this question: what is the historical cost of not being invested over the next 10 years? Run the compound interest calculation. Make the fear of inaction more vivid than the fear of loss. Use your loss aversion as fuel, just point it at the right fire. Your fear of losing money is not protecting you, it is the most expensive luxury you will ever own. Loss aversion evolved to keep you alive in a world of predators and scarce food. It was never designed for compound interest, index funds, or 30-year time horizons. The market does not punish the fearful with dramatic crashes. It punishes them quietly, with decades of missed growth that never appears on any statement, in any loss column, anywhere. That invisibility is the cruelest part. You never see the cost of what you did not do. If this shifted something for you, subscribe, because tomorrow we go even deeper. Next, watch our video on why the savings advice you grew up with is mathematically guaranteed to keep you poor. The numbers will genuinely shock you. This is the wealth code.